Okay, so the beginning of this video was actually the end of a previous video where I showed how I moved the machine out of the soundproof room using this little modification I created, which is basically a cut-up motorized wheelchair that I mounted beneath the machine. I'll get a better look from the back here, and then I'll continue this video. See, it's pretty simple to mount. 2 places, 2 bolts. I just sectioned all the stuff that's not required off, and I can drive the machine. The trick was, if you look closely, you'll see those bars have a slight bend in them. And the reason they have a slight bend in them is because there's some spring pressure down so that the wheels don't slip. Now obviously you can see that this machine is set up as a 4-axis router. It was originally a Velox 3-axis router. And then I added this dual chamber water table. You're probably wondering what the drains are for. Underneath, where what used to be the slat table sit, now I have a vacuum table that replaces it. But basically I've got 6 little tabs welded to the bottom of the dual chamber water table, and with 6 bolts I can remove that entire 4th axis, take it out, and then my Z-axis is also quick change, which I'll show you. Everything disconnects. I've got quick disconnects on everything here, as you can see, even the power. So I can unplug that and take it off and turn this into a plasma cutter, which is what I'm going to do next. Okay, like I said before, I had the 4th axis inside the dual chamber water table. You can see the drains. And then I've got 6 tabs welded in the table so that I can quickly locate the 4th axis, as you can see right here and here. The 4th axis is on a self-centering slide, so as I dial the handle here, it moves in and out, so it makes it very easy for me to adjust the length. The advantage of dropping the 4th axis into the dual chamber water table and having an extended travel Z-axis, I've got about 13 inches here, means I can swing a 12-inch piece inside my 4th axis. Much better than what I used to be able to do, which only gave me maybe 4 inches if I was lucky, not even. So now I can swing a much bigger piece, and then this easily comes out when I just hoist it up and get it out of the way. Pull it out from the machine, and then come back over, and you can see got a clear empty spot, and I got the 4th axis hanging there, ready to be stored. So I just got to clean up a little bit. Now, you might wonder what that is laying on the floor. Basically, once I put the 4th axis in, I use a shower pan liner, which you can glue. It's meant when you're trying to put a shower pan in your shower. You can cut it and glue it to any kind of size you want really quickly. So I use it as a cover, and if you see, it keeps most of the dust out of the dual chamber water table, but it definitely keeps it away from the drains. So it makes for my cleanup a lot better. I just vacuum that out, clean it out, and I'm ready to put water in here. Okay, as you can tell, I use my hoist a lot. It was one of the first things I put in this garage. I ran the beam from one end of the garage all the way to the other. And I support it, if you can see behind all the stuff, with this T structure, which is running straight down to the floor and then gets secured to the floor and bolted to the studs just to hold it side to side, but it's carrying all the weight of the beam. The beam is very stable. I did add a brace midway just to stop side to side sway. I know it's hard to see with all the other stuff there, but you kind of get the idea. Anyway, back to this. Now you saw I took out the 4th axis and the shower pan liner, which I use to keep the dust out of the water table. And now I have a slat table, which is also removable. Basically, when you create a plasma cutter out of your router, there's a couple of things that you're going to need to do. In my case, I have a dual chamber water table underneath. I'll kind of walk around and show that. You can see the table here, and then all the plumbing for the air and the water kind of follows around the back. And then back here. And the water table itself is on 4 jack screws so that I can level it and level the water level. Then the removable slat table is also on 4 jack screws, so I can level it within the water table so that the steel is level with the water level, and then everything's flat when I'm cutting. So I'll put it in place and then I'll continue the video. Okay, I'm to the point now where I'm ready to pull the Z-axis. As I said, it's a quick change axis. Now I've got a connector here, which I can pull apart. I have to stop the video to do that because it takes too long. So I separated those 2 connectors, and I've got the power. That's pretty easy, just pull it apart. And then I've got all the wires running down, which are in this carrier. I've got that mounted with a magnet on the back there. And I can just take that and put it to the side. I'll put it to the side there. And I've got 4 screws. 3 of them are out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to take the 4th one out now. I'm going to do this and stop the video. Again, it's easier with 2 hands. The 4th screw's right there. It's already loose, so I can just pull it out now. You see the whole thing comes free, and I can slide it off to the side. Now the trick to make this work is that I've got these locating pins right here. You see these are the female portion, and I'll spin the Z-axis around, and you can see the male locating pin, so it's like a fixture. So it just locates on those 2 points and then attaches with 4 screws, and it quick disconnects, so I can just slide it out of the way. Gotta use my hose for everything. And the Z-axis is free from the head. I've got a plasma head that goes on there, which I'm going to be mounting next. And I've got one that I'm going to be changing. I believe my next endeavor is going to be to a laser, but I'm not ready for that yet. But you see I've got the slat table in, and in a dual chamber water table, which hides underneath the vacuum table when that's in place, or the slat table comes out and the 4th axis goes down into the middle. So get a lot of flexibility out of one machine because I have a limited amount of space. As you can see, my plasma Z-axis has the same 2 locating pins, which locate in those 2 locating holes, right here, right here. So just a simple fixture alignment pins, and it keeps everything in calibration. Okay, so you saw the machine when it came out of the room in the end of that previous video, and it was a 4-axis router. Okay, so now it is try to get in there so you can see with the back glare. It is a plasma, and the plasma goes obviously right in here in the breakaway mount, and pneumatic engraver. So I can engrave and plasma cut on the same machine. It's got a dual chamber water table, which is here. You see the drains in there, and it's got the removable slat table, and now it's got a piece of metal in there located on the corner edge there, as you can see, right? So it's precise. And then I've got these modified vice grips which hold the metal in place. Now you don't need that for a plasma cutter, but you do need it when it engraves. And it also helps if you are plasma cutting an intricate shape and something goes wrong, you have to stop and restart. You know that the piece didn't move. So if in case the torch hit it or something else happened, but it is required for engraving. So, and you can see that that's all set up. Now my torch is in the room there, so when I roll this back in, it'll be all set. Again, I'll give you a quick preview of the dual chamber water table. You see it's a tank on the bottom and a separate tank on the top. And then you come around to the side and it kind of works like a fountain at Disney. You put air pressure in to the bottom tank, and then that pushes the water up into the top tank. You let the water out, you let the air out of the bottom tank, and the water comes back down into the bottom tank, and it drains and fills with the same reservoir, because I don't have direct access to water in the garage, so makes it easy for me to keep the tank full, and it also keeps the dust and grit down to almost nothing. And an added plus is that when you're engraving, you put the water level just at the level of the metal, like just almost bleeding over the top, and it greatly muffles the noise, because that's really loud even in a soundproof room. So that's it. Hopefully this was beneficial, and I'm out.